All right, I had a moment. I thought I would run through a quick little devotion with you. I hope everybody's doing well. It is my lunchtime, and I thought I'd just do a quick 10-15 minute encouragement. I hope this is an encouragement to you. I think of this one I'm going to talk about. I titled it A Timeless Promise for a Weary World. Are you weary today? All the things that are going on, is it weighing you down? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Well, let's talk about what Isaiah says here. So when we look at Isaiah, I'm going to go to Isaiah 40, and it's in verse 20, 28 to 31. So in a world that is defined by relentless pace, the digital noise, and constant pressure, it's easy to get overwhelmed, right? And exhausted. You can be tired. We chase what? The deadline. We manage our families. We navigate the crisis, often feeling like we're running on empty. It is into this very human experience, which is normal, right? Fatigue. Jesus got tired, remember? They had the angels minister to him because he was tired, and we run on empty, and it's a human experience that we have, and that's because that's the way we were made. I heard somebody say, I'm nothing but clay, and clay is dirt, and we're all dirt, right? So in this little devotion, the timeless words of Isaiah, we can see a little divine secret, a source of strength that never runs dry. And this passage from the Bible is more than just ancient poetry, in my opinion. I love the Bible, especially in the King James Version. I like the poetry, especially if you read it out loud. If you read it out loud, it sounds really great, in my opinion, and it's powerful. And this verse is an invitation to exchange our burnout for God's boundlessness of his energy. God is strong at everything. So let's just delve into this a little bit with this message of hope and supernatural renewal. Verse 28 says this, Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, which is Elohim, the creator of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of this understanding. 29, and he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he strengtheneth or increases their strength. Verse 30, and even the youths shall faint and be weary. So even if you're young, you're going to get tired. You can't go forever. You're not the Energizer Bunny. You remember that commercial? Some of you may. I might have just dated myself. But even the young men shall what? Utterly fall. Verse 31 says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. And they shall walk and not be faint. Wow, that's some hope there. When we look at my first point, which is the unseen source of limitless energy. What is that? What is that? It's almost like a nuclear reactor that never goes down, right? I think the prophet begins with a stunning reminder that we have an everlasting God. And the Lord, he fainteth and neither worries. Our lives are filled with things that drain us, right? Just over life, the boss, the kids, the animals. How many have animals? And you got to get up with them, and they have their own personalities. And you get tired, you get drained, right? Imagine the entrepreneur staring at a screen late at night, trying to keep their business afloat, feeling their physical and mental energy is completely depleted. Maybe you think about a parent juggling multiple jobs. That happens today to keep up with the cost of living and all the things. People have to take multiple jobs, take them away from what? The family unit, just to give those family needs. They got to double up on jobs, running at least on the fumes of both coffee and determination. This verse declares that while our batteries might die, God's power and his infinite, he is perpetual, meaning continually source that we can plug into when our own strength falters. In what areas in your life are you feeling drained today? And how might remembering God's infinite energy change your approach to that feeling? That's a great point, folks. Think about that. What areas of your life that you feel drained at? It happens. We get on overload. There's lots of things going on. I know my schedule gets busy and I have to set those boundaries. I wish and would like to do and help everybody, but sometimes we just can't. We're limited while he's limitless. So number one, the unseen source of that limited energy we know is God. Number two, navigating life's how with infinite wisdom. We see that the text here, there is no searching of his understanding. We don't have to search for it. We live in an age where the information overload, right? Somebody once said, what you get in a day is what the founding fathers got in a lifetime. That's a lot. Well, I would say that it's even more, and it continues to grow, and everybody's competing for your attention. And I think that's where Satan comes in and takes hold of us by keeping us busy and wearing us down and dealing with stuff. But we know that we don't have to search for the understanding here because God is there for us, right? So we live in this age of overload, and yet we often lack the wisdom to solve our problems and our pressing problems. Do you have any problems today? Consider a community leader or somebody in charge of a complex, maybe a business, a social issue, or a recent graduate starting an uncertain future, wondering, how will this ever work out? You ever ask yourself that? How is this ever going to work out? My life, what am I doing? I'm working my family over and over. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. How will this ever work out in life? This verse reminds us with a profound peace and basically reassures us that no matter what, when the path is a little foggy and how is a mystery and all-knowing God is in control. Knowing that God has the control. Knowing that, I heard it said the other day, I think my wife said it, I've got to let him lead and I have to follow. I heard that the other day, kind of resonated with me. Thought I'd share that. But our role isn't to have all the answers, but trust the one that knows. Now, everybody knows about the Guadalupe River down in Cherry Hill, Texas, and that tragedy down there. I don't know why that happened. I don't have the answers. But God tells us to focus on what we do know. There's a whole lot of things in this Bible, and I'm studying. Lord knows I study. And I try to get into it every single day of my life and ask God to show me something. I got to be honest with you. I don't have it all figured out. This guy does not have it all figured out. I can only focus on what God allows me to know. Sometimes I think about it as a journey, not a destination. You don't just jump into the Bible and say, okay, my destination is I'm going to read it A to Z and I'm done. No. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey using the Word of God as truth that aligns us with Him, right? And we know that He is in control. And sometimes we want to be in control. And we try to drive the bus, if you will. And that's not the answer. So our role isn't, again, to have all the answers. It's to trust the one that does. That's God. God has all the answers. What are the complex problems or uncertainty in your future that you're trying to resolve on your own? And what would it look like to entrust on how God's unsearchable understanding? Think about that. If we just put God out front and stop trying to solve our problems. I was there many years ago. I was there. I could solve any problem. Didn't matter what it was. God brought me to my knees and showed me that I wasn't in control, that He was. And I'm thankful that God brought me back to Him and that I now put my faith, hope, and trust into Him. And I share the gospel, the good news to people. And through this medium of an outlet that we have with Dean Alley Ministries, we're reaching people that we don't even know that we're reaching. But we'll know one day when we go to heaven, somebody might come up to us and say, hey, I saw that podcast that you did with Isaiah 40 talking about, putting our faith in God and knowing that He is the infinite wisdom and strengthening us. And that made me change my viewpoint, and I changed the way I was looking at things and looking at life. Great example there. So think about that. Number one, the unseen sources of limitless energy. Number two, navigating life's how. How do you navigate it? With infinite wisdom. Number three, the exchange of our weakness for what? His strength. So we've got to exchange that tiredness, that worriness, that thing that is just, almost like a cancer eating on you. We have to give this to God. The heart of the passage lies in the incredible promise. And I love what it says, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. This resonates, right? Deeply in our culture of burnout. We are constantly, maybe it's because I'm getting older. I'm trying to go up to 10,000 feet and getting off of the 1 foot level in this world. And I look at the cycle. Get up, go to work 5 days a week, maybe get a vacation, spend some time in a holiday. Is that it? Is that what life's all about? It's kind of like a hamster wheel. It's like a hamster wheel of life. I think about people that work in a job. We have to, right? We have to go to work. We got bills. But I think about the people that constantly they do that their entire life. And they get to a retirement age. And I heard some very sad news on Monday. Someone that I thought was a really, really, really good guy. And I liked him. And I found out, he was 63 years old. He just retired, and he passed sudden. And it reminded me of the Bible verse that we're not promised tomorrow. And you hear me say it all the time. You want to know him before you meet him. Remember, when you get there, when Jesus judges you, he's going to say, okay, Dean, I gave you X amount of years. What'd you do to tell people about me? How did you live your life? Tell me about it. I want to hear it. Of course, I'm the worst sinner there is in the world. I don't deserve the grace that he gives, but I hope to glorify him in this body right here on this earth because of what he's done for me. He's changed my perspective. He's changed the way I look at things. And when I think about that hamster wheel, how involved I was with that hamster wheel, how close I was to the pulse, if you will, stepping back and looking at things that have value. Family is value. I call them soul moments. Do you have soul moments with your family? So we have to wait on the Lord, right? And it resonates because we live in this world of where you see people burnt out. Big bags under their eyes. Of course, I do too. But, they're sun up to sundown. They're working, trying to make what? Another dollar. So they can give it to their family, to give it to, you know what? Let me tell you, I read a book and it was profound to me. But one of the things that talked about when it came to family, children, and things, that children would regard time with you spelled Love, time. They spell love with time, your time with them. And you can't get it back, folks. Time waits on no man. You know that. And as time continues to go on, we have less and less opportunities of sharing the gospel, having soul moments, bringing our children, our grandchildren, all the folks we possibly can up in the admonition of the Lord, as the Bible says. And when we're overwhelmed, you think of a student sometimes. I did a dual enrollment in college, and I learned something. God taught me that my wife became a seminary widow. I went to 2 seminaries and a divinity school. And I would get up at 2, 3 in the morning, write papers, and just work sun up, sundown, 2 degrees at a time, lots of work, lots of writing. And I didn't realize that my wife became a seminary widow. She never saw me. I was so adversed into my schooling that I left out the most important thing. And that was my wife. I regret it. I share that with you because love is spelled Time. I didn't spend any time, especially in that situation. So don't be like me. Set these times up. When we're on overload, like when I was a student, I was emotionally exhausted. And it's important that we recognize that and we adjust our schedules. We learn from it. Waiting on the Lord isn't passive or laziness. It's important that I say that. When you wait on the Lord, doesn't mean you're lazy. Doesn't mean you're passive as an individual. To me, it shows active trust. It shows you have an active trust with God. It's like plugging your phone to recharge it. How you plug it in. I don't know if you have an iPhone, a regular phone, whatever it is. The phone is at rest, but what is it doing? It's actively receiving a current or a frequency, not a frequency, but a current that is charging. And by pausing sometimes our frantic lives, striving and choosing to trust God's timing and power, we can make an exchange. What is that? Our exhaustion for His renewal. The result isn't just getting by, it's thriving in life. We mount up on wings as eagles, soaring above the circumstances that once grounded us. What would it mean for you to stop striving in your own power and you what? Wait upon the Lord for renewal of strength this week. So let me just walk through these verses again. Well, verse 28, hast not, or thou not known, hast thou not heard, the everlasting God, the Lord of creation, of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither worry, there is no searching his understanding. This means this is a rhetorical question, serves a powerful reminder of God and his fundamental nature. His eternal, self-sufficient, all-powerful, unlike us, right? The Creator is inexhaustible. You can't exhaust him. The source of all strength and wisdom comes from him. Verse 29, or he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increases the strength. This means God's power isn't something he keeps to himself, folks. He gives it to us. It's a gift. He actively shares it. We have to ask. He specifically directs us, or specifically directs his strength towards us, those who recognize their own weaknesses, the faint and the mightless. This is a profound encouragement that our weakness is the prerequisite for receiving his strength. Verse 30, even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. This is clear, right? This verse levels the playing field, makes it clear. Human strength, even at its peak. When you're younger, my dear, loving father-in-law, Elliot Boy West, used to say, well, when I was 20 years old, I could jump over the building, because we're young, right? But we are reminded that we are human and we are unreliable and we're finite. We have an ending, right? It's universal truth on our own, and we will eventually stumble if we focus on ourselves. So the highlight here is to share for strength greater than our own. Verse 31, but they that wait upon the Lord, there's the meat and the potatoes, shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. This is simply a glorious conclusion here that the key action is to wait upon the Lord, which means to hope, trust, and patiently depend on him. The reward is three-tiered, promised for a complete renewal. Sort of like an eagle, you gain a divine perspective that rises above your problem. Run without weariness is a finding that supernatural endurance demanding seasons of life. Walk without fainting, discovering quiet steadiness, faithfulness for a long, everyday journey. So as I went through these verses and talked about it, have you been reminded on this devotion of the divine promise? I hope I was able to do that. What is your practical steps that you could take today to shift from weariness to waiting, and you're ready to soar on the strength of God, and he provides himself? Folks, this is Chaplain Dean Alley. I had a moment. I hope and pray. I will put some things in the description if you need me. You take care. God bless. I love you. Bye-bye.